The court adjourns. Kind of the classroom and not just only staying on the inside. I thought it was highly interesting.
Re a leboha tate ka thapelo e monate jwang. Bomme le bontate ke la ka tsa ke le bolelle hore morero le sepheo sa letsatsi la kajeno memo ke ya hore re ke re tlotla re hlalosa le ho hopola re ikhopotsa puo ya Mohlomphehi Tonakgolo ha ne a hlomamiswa e leng sona seikokotlelo seo re se sebedisang kapa re itataisang ka sona sebeletsong ya puso ya kajeno. Ka hona ke kopa hore ke tle ke hlalose hore tsatsing la kajeno re tla ipapisa le puo ya kajeno le sepheo le morero fela. Re kopa hore le dipotso tse bang di tla ba teng kapa tlhakisetso tse hlokahalang di amahane di ipapise le puo eo re tla be re bua ka yona kajeno. Jwale ke kopa hore ke tle ke hlalose sa le qalong hore letsatsing la kajeno re tlo bua ka toro e leng vision kapa pono ya Mohlomphehi Tonakgolo eo a bileng le yona le pele mmuso o thewa. Ke sepheo le morero wa letsatsi la kajeno kapa la mmoka o bitseng kajeno. Ka mantswe a mang ke hlalosa hore ha se press conference mona e tlwaeleng ya hore ba sebui se bang se a bua o tla bua ebe boraditaba ba teng kapa ba phatlalatsi ba ditaba e ba bona ba tla mamela e ga ba qeta mone ba phamisa matsoho ba botsa. Sepheo le morero go hore re bue le lona le ba phatlalatsi ba ditaba le botse ka nako eno e ba re tla boetse ka morao mone re tswela pele hape e le hore ha re feta ntlha ya pele ga be re dumela re utlwisa kaofela ka mona hore re a utlwisisa le dipotso e tle ha re di botsa re be re ipapisa le tlhaloso e fanweng. Ke a leboha. Ke tla fetisetsa ditaba hona jwale ho ntate Kobedi hore a ja hlalose re tla mona mo utsang purpose and re rana through the program hona ho etsahalang
ke a leboha ntate Takane. Bomme le bontate se ke hlalositswe le bitso la ga ke Teboho Kobedi. Mosebetsi wa ka nna o mo kgutshwanyane fela ke hore ke le amohele ke be ke le lebohe hore e be le atleile hore tle ka bongata bona ho tlatla ya kgola poster ene re beile ne hle itlhakisitse hore na seo re batlang hore re se fihlele na ke sefeng. Mme le ba phatlalatsi le ba qolotsi ba ditaba ho bohlokwa hore e be lone ba ka sehloohong bao le pele re ka tla engage mafapha a mang mohlomong a setjhaba ge ebe re ila re tle re qala ka lona hobane hona tokomane yena re bua ka yona Mohlomphehi Tonakgolo o buile ka lona hona moo e le hore ha re se re buile ditaba tseno re tla be se re tseba hona way forward na ke feng. Mme ke ona ke hlokere mosebetsi wa ka o mokgutshwanyane o mong hape ko le tsebisa kapo le hlalosetsa sebopeho sena se re emeng ka sona ke ditho tsa tse bitswang Prime Minister's Delivery Unit, mme e bopuwe ka tsela ena eo ke a kgola le tla hopola hore ke modulasetulo kapo ke chairman kapo modulasetulo wa diboka wa party e buisang e bitswang RP e leng yona e qeteletseng e entse puso. Mme pela ka mona ntate Takane ya kgola haebe mohlomong le sa tsebe ke le tsebiso hore ke yena motlatsi wa modulasetulo wa diboka wa RFP ka hona party ila ikeletsa ka pohle ke re mohlompe itona kholo ila ikeletsa hore ha delivery unit ena e tlotla thusetsa haholo hore e hlakise ditaba tsa buileng ka tsona haholo hore re ne re khutisetse ditaba ma qalileng teng visioneng ya hae e hauweng ka tokomane ena e entsweng le pele ena e ka ba tona kgolo. Mme ke a kgola ha motho a sa le ka hara puso o tla fumana hona le dintho tse ngata tse etsahalang tseo batho ba sa ba sheba ho tsona go fapana le hore ba mo kgutlisetse ditabeng tsane tseo itseng ha a thea puso ka pele a tla kena pusong a ile a re nna ke tla ke sebetsa ka tsela e itseng jwale be ntse re tataya le yena ka taba tseno. So wa ka fela ne le ho hlalosa mme go tsamaya le ntate Tshwele ke setsibi se hlahang mokgatlong wa pitso seo re sebetsang le sona hore re nne re bone hore seo mohlompe itona kgolo a ile a go o tla se etsetsa shaba sa Basotho re nne re hopotsane re nne re shebe le hore na ha itse ho etsahale tjena na re nne re khutlele fatshe re shebe na mohlompe itona kgolo taba yana itse e etsahale na re bona ka ntse etsahala kapo itlo etsahala neng. So ke a kgola ke ka hona letsatsi la ka dino ile ga re ipitse mmoka ona o ka ona re hlileng re tlotla sheba morao re tlotla khutela tokomaneng ena mme ke a kgola ntate Tshele o tla re tataisa ka yona tokomane ka tsona ditaba tsena tseo stage by stage re tla nne re ya ka tsona re hlalosa ona o ile a reng mme re sebetse o latela ka mokgonta le takana tshulong ka teng re ipapise le yona tokomane ena hobane re ke be ra tla arabela ditaba tsa mmuso hobane ha re ka hole a mmuso rone re ka mmuso o na le di-PS o na le matona o na le di-ofisiri tse ngata haholo tseo di patallwang ho etsa mosebetsi oo mme ba tla nna ba arabela ditaba tsa bona moo e ba mohlomong bo ga ditaba ba ka lakatsa ho ba hlalose hore la mohlompe itona go rona itse taba ke ena ebile mona e ka e supa lekala le itseng taba e se le ha kae e le hore ha re no tla re araba taba tseno ha re bue mona re le mmuso e kopa taba eno e hlake hore ha re bue re le mmuso re bua re le delivery unit ya ofisi ya mohlompe itona kgolo e tla bua ka tokomane ena mohlomong e tla ka mora tokomane ena re tla nne re khutle hape ebe le a re kopa ka bogala kopa ha ona le taba e nngwe re batlang re tla e shebisana hape ho ya pele ka kgola ke tshilo tena ntate Tshele ke kopa ntate go so e palama
ke a leboha bafuphi ba ka ke tlhalosang le ke Mpopo Tshele ke sebeletsa NGO e Pitso Institute of Implementation Research le pitso e mengwe hore e be karolo ya delivery unit to add what we call independent voice to the operations of the delivery unit. Pitso ke NGO. I think some of you are aware over the years has another situation hore e phethahatse because the sole purpose for why we have Pitso an institution that studies implementation and that comes back and says implementation ya etsahala kapa ha etsahala. Well, how is that delivery unit? We were asked whether we could be part of that delivery unit. Re le bogale. Me ono sena letho constitution ya rona e thibang ho ba ka hona mokgatlong. Haeba a ne ya delivery unit, haeba ba delivery unit ho no sa bolaya identity ya Pitso. E le hore condition e re la ga ya gore haeba re dilelwa re be ka ga delivery unit ka bona, then government must be aware of it. We are going to question or we are going to push for processes that enable engagement and accountability. It's what the Pitso delivery unit. If you go back to the program, purpose and delivery unit before we get to the subject of the matter, which is revisiting the Prime Minister's vision post 200 days of this government. ke tsaya ba le tokomane tsa lona mo ntle le shebe mo ngotsweng Prime Minister's Delivery Unit Terms of References. Bo e bang ha bana yona batho ba ka shebang le boteng mane. Ke tsena ke di laetile mona bo e bang ha bana tsona. Like it's part of the documents that I shared with you. The delivery unit, the way I understand it, is composed for just one reason. They are purposing to push delivery. And with delivery, there's what? Accountability. You know, Musebetsi delivery unit is not is to push, is to make as much noise. Mme bo ntate ba re re tlile mona o tla reflecta ko bane tlile go tlhoka ke re tlo sheba ona since tate Matekane a bua ka 28 October giving certain instructions and promising certain things taba tse una di context ya tsona re haka ya ka tsona without necessarily speaking about progress or so yene ke nana we ba ka gona go sheba ge ke re shebe line ke yena mona ke tla bua ka yana ka peng hona le background temo ka ga terms of reference ka mo it's basically a background that says ditshebeletso tsa setšhaba di mpe across board. Doesn't matter what sector this government inherits puso eo ditshebeletso di le mpe. This is the background. The rationale why a delivery unit and many other structures of government have been set up. Ke batla go ke re bale area e teng mona ena ke tla ya highlight ha le dikeng la bona ntle ba ka gona go bona ke batla go bala because this then forms the crux of why we have met today. Ere governments worldwide including this government cannot count upon democratic electoral processes to legitimize their tenure in office. Go to Muson recognize how there is more to do beyond to win to legitimize its stay. And the same applies to other governments across the globe. We know beyond the election period now. It's a law now one is there is more to legitimizing a government than the fact that then the paragraph reads the new social pact or agreement that this government subscribes to between government and citizens now relies on visible, measurable results. That's the pact. This government says our legitimacy derives from visible, the results measure over time. That is what shapes how this government intends to do business. It la re bua ka speech, it la re bua ka ditokomane tsa tse ntse re tlotla ka tsona. Lona tle le hopole line ena fela. The legitimacy of this government will be derived from the visibility and ability to measure results of what it is doing. Not worry, but what if we can't measure, if what is being done is not visible, okay? If it cannot be measured, then there's a problem. There's a problem. Okay, the RFP-led government recognizes that the issue of public management, managing the public service, is central to go to the RFP government recognizes that the issue of public management is a condition for the state to deliver better services. Two things: visible, measurable results through a well-managed public sector. A well-managed public sector. These are the defining characteristics of what shapes the vision behind what this government was set up. Those are the defining characteristics. Yeah? So further down, in the early terms of reference now, so that I don't lose you. Honale section the role of the office of the Prime Minister in oversight. Remember, visible, measurable. You get it? You're to officer to hold irresponsible for oversight. It's this paragraph 1.3. And oversight is exercised through processes that GS would be PS. You're the GS get out with PS. Unka musebeti ono o fetu la agenda cabinet to allow the Prime Minister to preside over ministers. When that does not happen, if the GS does not engage and oversee PSs, then cabinet does not have an agenda. Elore, the terms of reference that are set up at delivery unit, they recognize how the government secretary is very central in the proper functioning of the will of government. And what are referred to as functions of a government secretary. The session is an engagement session. So, GS, okay? The GS is the center. If the GS does not do his job, which is presiding over PSs, then the Prime Minister cannot oversee ministers. I want you to underscore Manzia about Taverenzi Giwaga. Kibuda Section 12 Umona Public Service Act 2005. The establishment of an office called the Government Secretary's Office. The functions of the GS are spelled in that law. He coordinates the activities of all principal secretaries and transmits that communication from PSs to cabinet. I've spoken to this. The GS is also responsible for conveying policies and discussions of government to anyone of interest to government. But the third function of the GS, he enters into performance agreements with principal secretaries. He supervises and monitors their performance. Yeah? So he gets into performance contracts with PSs. And this contract should ideally spell what the government has promised Basotho it is going to do. If we have performance contracts that don't speak to the promises of the sitting government, then as the promises are Fella who to GSO can into the performance contract or supervise at the PS. And if you read this, if you are coordinate the activities at the PS, it will be cabinet. You can see now he does that on the basis, ideally, on the basis of contracts that PSs enter into with that office, the office of the government secretary. As I intend to tell you about supervisor. Cabinet, and then the Prime Minister can say, hang on, Minister agreed. One problem. Yeah? Minister so and so, a pat on the shoulder. Minister so and so, Pamis. Fela about la underscore monawe. PM Hana Mohaw Matona. As at the PS in the year. Musebe tu amuso over to go to give the chief accounting officers, go to give the PS. Bala Olwangi government secretary. See no how Balela, the GSS overall responsibility over all public officers. At the terms of reference, in a the centrality of the office of the GS. I think you now understand why the office of the GS is a very important office for government. If this office doesn't function properly, government is likely not to function properly. Because if you study that logic, how na agenda cabinet? I go to cabinet. He's the one who prepares the agenda. Meta watana bembaka. Kupalu pisan tabandi sebele tu adilembe. Kubana tabatin dikala ona. And said ligala gozedi. Kili sebele tu te amamba bamba ona. ha bohloko mme wa shwa o pepa mane ditshebeletso tsa bophelo bana ba stanta bona because agriculture ha e produce hantle. It is because that logic has not happened over the years. We have never had, unless you can tell me otherwise, more to the PS over the last 20 years. Forget what is happening now. We'll come to that later on. Visualize media. Have you ever heard more to PS based on a performance contract? I got to not towing party line, but maybe not aligned to any performance contract. At any given point in time, performance contract their PS. Again, you want also to PS, one PS, all 4, space at 3 months. Because was PS in cabinet, was PS in defense, PS NSS, PS agriculture in 4 months. You see, that says this logic here, that is in the law. Okay? It is that because I need that. Unata sign a performance contract thing ya khwedi. It will sign a thing happy a khwedi or in those 4 months. But the sad part of this, remember, before you are journalists, never so. Before you are journalists, never so, and you are recipients of good or bad public services. This media engagement session is not a session to do small politics. It's a session to knock into our hearts and say, having totten at gun, is there nothing to Gamala? Again, Rasa Honu Salam Ravasa Honu demand, Rasa Honu, it's about responsible of our account. Then we have a problem. What you want to know, Kona? How does this government view the participation of media in this whole thing? Do PSs have contracts now? How many of you know in this room? Have you seen a PS's contract? Yeah? Then what are you reporting on in terms of performance of that sector? Have you seen a minister's contract? Then how can we honestly say, but logic and is very critical. This is what the law says, the functions of the GS. I'll go back now to the terms of reference. Again. Okay. Usually, has a refugano o GS ke mokoko wa puso. Again, based on what you've read, kamolaungam. General section in define a role ya prime minister in oversight. Yele PM with the oversight, take am GS. See? GS as a civilian. We all in this room should have consent. The critical question would be whether this government allows you to participate or it doesn't. You see? And by participating, how to participate. I'll scroll further down. Keep a section in and you have the documents, you read in full what the terms of reference for the delivery unit are. Section A, Ibu aga what you call drivers of change for this particular government. Hotu, in his inauguration remarks, the Prime Minister said or defined the logic towards which the new government change program should be understood. Over this new government, the only change it will do is to increase accountability in the public sector by creating a system in which performance expected of all public officials will be transparently stated and reported upon. And there will be social engagement around what performance has been achieved and what services have actually been delivered. ha ke tsela be ntate Ntagao ka e hlalosa. The Prime Minister defined the logic of the new government change program. The government promised change. What is the logic of change? Change change, how are you going to do that? Or what is going to be different? What distinguishes you from Buffy today? So to move on to ways that are different from the rest is to increase accountability in the public sector. Okay? By doing what? By creating a system in which performance expected of all public officials, PSs, ministers, you name them, directors, everyone, okay, will be transparently stated. PSA, we expect you with a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And there will be social engagement around what has been achieved or not been achieved. Central to this logic is the ability of government to define results, measure them, reflect and communicate performance. Section A like that, because that is what marks the difference of this government. Making performance transparent. Okay? Stating performance ya motho mo le mo ga etsele go hohle mo lenti go ska ipotsa PSA tebelwa ka pa o wa intšha ka pa o so. Okay? Ha motho yena o itse o tla lema so many hectares of what one. Ana go le fitla ditotse di se. Helese tshaba. We can even push on motho yena o office because we know. So the question is always what happens when we don't know. Nese ke re hopoleng 20 years of hlela ona. Okay? Did you ever know what is expected of anyone in government? The question is, do you know now? You know now? I'm asking a very simple question. In the last 20 years, could you say, I know that PS is responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4? Could you say that? Ke ne ke re na ha ke re agabe potso eno pele tle o ere ona o fetile ka. Ke ne ke re na 20 years back illa ka la tse. Then I'll simplify it and say, do you know now? If you don't know now, that is wrong for this government. You must know. This media engagement, part of its objective is to push you to know. Is to push you to ask the right questions. Because if you don't know, they say knowledge is power. What power do you have as media in this country? Like our pala watchdog role, PSA, what role can you play? Seriously.
So we pose those questions to you.
I'm happy you are there. But we are saying, delivery unit. See? You may not get this from a minister or PS, but the delivery unit can say that. Because it has mandate to say, if this is the vision, is it happening or not happening? You see? And but what then we'll respond. So I'm saying, there is an opportunity now to make this government accountable. And to make it government accountable, you must know what are meant to do. Okay? If at a point in the terms of reference in the delivery unit. Okay. The center of government, which is the Prime Minister's office, in particular, the Government Secretary's office, should exercise more decisive and effective control and accountability over government processes and the delivery program. Straight logic. What is the function of a GS? To get into performance contracts with PSs, to supervise, okay? And to take whatever is coming out of that to the Prime Minister, so that the Prime Minister can also do the same on ministers. E le hore mmuso ona hore o hloka a strong center. O hloka a strong office of the government secretary. A GS that will get into performance contract. That will say, I don't have business if I don't have performance contracts with these business people. You see, you don't have idea on how the delivery unit is saying to you. That is contrary to the vision of this government. And that is what you must do. Go and find out. Are there contracts? Okay? Does the GS have contracts with PSS? If they are not there, it says the center cannot do it, cannot drive government business. Because motho ena wele eleng yana enka kapa office ena eleng yanka. Ha era dithuti tse ka dumellang wele tsona. E la o le botsa ona agri mo health mo. Or have you heard the story of TB in this country? The story of maternal deaths in this country. Womme ba shwang ha ba o pepa mo ditsi. Masea ma under 5 years. Ashwa or maybe the first trimester one. Case stories are the decades. Maternal mortality is high. TB number 1. HIV is number. Have you had a GS being fired for that? If you haven't had a GS being fired for that, what are you who cannot performance contract in about how you have a big role now to do that. To police, to play a watchdog role on some of these issues that shape the logic of how this government can bring about change. Go have about that way. Kana go etelele Lesotho ke na ha batho ba ngolang fela ba sa phethatse. Then why let our fela nto fela melao e le teng ya ona na e tsamaiso? You know what this government is saying? It is important to have a very strong government. They give you the driver that change. Another point that in terms of reference, how to effective citizen engagement. We are in this meeting to engage so that you have knowledge, you have power to engage with your government, to deliver services that you receive. Because if you can engage, roll alone, a watchdog, you are sidetracked. Yeah? Interest becomes issues that happen in parliament, in what? Not fighting TB that's killing you every day. Not fighting maternal mortality that's killing you, your sister, your brother, your mother every day. Not having food to eat because somebody in this country is not doing something. So I'm saying, Bimbaga, this is part of an agenda to engage more people to understand what government is trying to do. And the delivery unit says, if today you still don't know, go and find out on the basis of what we are saying today. So the terms of references, purpose here delivery unit oversight. That's the purpose. To support the Prime Minister's office to exercise strong oversight and accountability over the public and local government service. You have the public service, you know how passionate Kitson is about the sphere of India local government. Obane, Teta has ways elements and limits and more pillar, more persuading Yelema and Councillor. Hello to deliver unity that we saw official from Petuna Holo, KGS, Calatrala Public Service, Hobona fella on a oversight. Lengu and the how to deliver unity to them, spiritual PS. How to them, spiritual mato. Elore, deliver unity to Petam, Sebeti. What wasn't ever he wore away. Mibuso Yevitile, we had delivery units that do jobs. For what thing, past the ballet demands by who. Pelagan Canada, we believe. I am to Santa he wonder, to Zonto he wore PS again. You're to hear that you need to deliver. You and I will deliver this. Oh, what I'm talking to. Kati deliver unity at a mere patent to an also to he it may never fell media at the moment that the man now is upset. Hello, Rolia on Abimbaga. A lining ye no fellow to Prime Minister at oversee. And the reason to Prime Minister House at to it goes back to that issue oversight is a responsibility of the Prime Minister in this country, not an individual minister, because all ministers are under who? The Prime Minister. Is to question the Prime Minister about the oversight. Because as a member of the delivery unit, I'm allowed to say that. I'm allowed to encourage you to question processes of oversight and accountability. Because that is the vision of this government. Tell media to come and ask us. So I guess they didn't say the specifics in terms of reference, but the cracks. That's a delivery unit. Agenda iteming unless that they 10 minutes just to reflect on this, or 5 minutes. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, just to reflect on this and nothing else. On what I've said and nothing else. Yeah?
a paking ntho e dumelwaneng ke party ya RFP na le teng ka molao hore ha PS ba kapo yenwa GS a sitwa ho fumana dikarabo ho yane PS na lona hona le ntho ile ka etsa nka tataiswa go gona
Ke tle ke ya ka benda. A da tlile teng ka molao. Tja ke tsebana kwa motheo ba kwa. Fela re itse delivery nti supporta Prime Minister. Elo Prime Minister ga iketsa advice hore rolling yena ka oversight akere. Nna ke le Prime Minister. Jole ka hale tona la ka dipatla consultant. Yo tswa ntse di consultant ba ka le. Jole ke gora ka ba ona tsona di molao mo feng wa motheo. Consultant, technical advisors, etc. Elo le mona tona go rona le discretion ya hore for me to execute my job, I can put together a team of people, that can help me do that. Hantle fela jole ka ona le consultant te makara mona to help sectors to deliver on 1, 2, or 3, and 4. Or I want to sa hlaya ka Public Service Act ka pa sa hlaya in the Constitution. When you have a task, you can say to yourself, I want to build my capacity. So to answer you, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting in this office. I don't know what act, what constitution or what, but we are here. We are a legitimate unit that is recognized by the person responsible for oversight.
PS kapa no kapa GS no ifile ke mosebetsi wa GS o tsa botse o na le monga hae e leng tona go monga hae ke tona go le consultant ha ena tokelo ya hore e ka be se e khoma mo e hirweng teng ho thwe e thuse PS e itseng kapa le tona le itseng e be se le ena se tatamala e le ka pele ilo etsa ilo correct kapa ilo botsa ntse e tla advise motho ya ne o ena se bitsang le
e lo gonda de ko be gore gona mo go tswa gona go tsitsinya tona go go enda your system is sleeping on the job.
Taba ye ya lona e tlo fapana ka ile tsa tsumang tsimo ya ho tola fihla batho ba 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 ipitsang ka lebitso le ntle le ho bitswang PS yeo re tsebang le yena a be ke ntokelo le matla ohle a ho laola ditšhelete lekaleng lefe kapa lefe la mmuso. Jwale lona le re le sebetsa le tonakgolo fela moo ho senang performance e ntle ho PS ka molaodi e moholo e leng GS le ho botsa rona. Tseteng nka e qala ka lona ke re mane Manthabiseng ho na le motho e mong a la a fihla lebitso la hae ke Thabo Kgasing. A fihla a nka matla a batho bo thweng ke di-PS ke qaqanqang e re keneng ka hare ho yona hona jwale. So ke re lona ha eba ha lena matla ho batho bana e mo thweng ke GS le e mo thweng ke PS, but lona le coordinate kapa le reporta ho yane a bitswang tonakgolo. Nako e ba re kakang ba babedi ba sa etse mosebetsi le re rona ka mona ho ba botsa lona mosebetsi wa lona tla be lo.
I think the legitimate question. Re ya ga rona re tla o thusa go be le di-resources tsa go botsa. Ha ke wa bona na ke go tlisitse ka mo. That has never happened. The GS, the PS has never done that. The PS has not taken into confidence or not. If you are going to question this government, what do you need to do? I get mo ga so buika program ya le ka. O di batla ho separate them to bits. Mane ha eba go nona le motho a nkile mosebetsi wa di-PS le di. A ke re rona go so buika mosebetsi wa di-PS ka mo. Re bua ka mosebetsi wa tonakgolo wa oversight. A ke re wa re nthuseng ke tso batho bana ba di ba file mosebetsi. A ke re wa bona. A ke re nthuse nna ke etse wa e le ngwa o bona o machinery ona ka wa function e le ona ka tla re date ha ba go batla go partner le media tabeng thusa media go phame go etsa mosebetsi
Ana le putso o e
fela go polentse re le ntse re ya tabeng
ke kopa dikana ka datla se tla bana datla datla ba tswa
Jalo wonder.
ke kopa o mo bulela ditso la hao datla
Ke wena sana lebitso la ka da. Ke motale wa ditaba ke ditse. Da ditsele. Le bontate. Utlwa le hana ho re ona le re lona le tlhomo di molao fe. Me ke a gola go tse mo di tla ka data e se tsa di tse ngata e nda tinda ka yona. A go hloso please finger mona. The law or the act in thehang gore na lona le body e thehang ke molao e tletse ke ferekane gona hantle ho ayo and how got that to finger the act ile thewa ke active ke a gola ha eba go fule go ba jwang e ba le consultancy o re tswe re hlakeng gobane ke batla go supa tabene ke ni busong e fitileng ke le ga bona the structures se na le similarities tse kang tsa rona se ne se bitswa resource pool and ha the leaders the political parties in the cooperative movement you go call like the structure the government will decide this way there will be other group e tlanka tse ding tsa yona tse fapaneng jale le gona ge le bathehile puso gona structure ka se e se le ba potsa mo beng ha se tlo lidela mo jwale mo re tla utlwa mohlomong balekane ka ga puso ene ba se balla gore icon tse re nagana re matona ge etsa decision mo di go na le matona le sehlopha se seng sa matona ma se tlanka decision tsa sona jwale ha re sa utlwana structure se ha rena go bona se re leaders mo. My last question le kgola bokae le kgola mokotle mo mmuso bokae gona na le kgola mokotle mo mmuso ya lo
okay that ke re ke ntse ke khutlela tabeng yana ya hore go e potso ena mola ya ona what law. I think I responded to that question and said the Prime Minister has the prerogative to put together a team of people that can help him to do his job. And that should not be provided by the Constitution or any act. He can do that. Unless you can say that cannot happen. One mola ha. Ke gona tsena re ditse ka ke consultant e fela motho. Batanga ka go tsana ditheu tla sa active nga ba ditheu tla sa. You can't tell me. To give you confidence over delivery unity ha e phetole mmuso. We are not going to interact with PSs. We are not going to interact with ministers. I want to underscore motho e re mo support-ang ke prime minister. Ke yena a re benneng ofisi ya go mo support. Di-PS di ka i-advise ka batho bo di-advise jole ka ntse di etsa di ka iketsa di-consultant tsa tsona di ka iketsa delivery unity tsa tsona gona because the prime minister says yena ha share the problem ya nageng has always been a weak center. Ha o ka bona molao o no ne go bala mona na go tswa go to a GS will enter into performance contracts. He will supervise these people. He will take whatever comes out of that into cabinet. Again, you know, then I'm in control of this country. So I get to know why should it be by law, or why should it be by an act of parliament, or what? For a duty bearer to say he advised I don't know whether there's any law that says it must be done by law or whatever. Then I will tell you, so assurance ke le fanya la batho ba ka go delivery unity ha e tlo etsa mosebetsi wa di-PS because prime minister ga ore batho bana ba santsa ba hiru ba santsa ba le teng akere it would be remiss of me ba hirela batho ba bangwe ba etsetsa mosebetsi ha ke ba santsa ba le teng wage bill sentse le di ho nna go etsang go ke kala o ba ka public service kala o tla I need a team of people that can speak honestly and genuinely and say things are not happening. See, which is what we have now. You never had a PS that goes to the prime minister and say, you've never had a minister that goes to the prime minister and says that and they say all the time. And this is because the center is weak, or the center has always been weak. So unless provision e tseng e thibela o tona golo aka ba le delivery ka tsela ena e thibeng ka then maybe then there will be a contention to this point. O mo go a ga tla o tsibisa o solo teng there will be a time mo go tla tlhalosana go gona ja no ra gona ka ha ba ga tla keteletse go
Da no se
is it a launch of delivery unity kapa go etsalang go fela lo rena go baneng e le lona ba itlhaisang ka pela gona not prime minister himself taba engwe go gona complexity ya delivery unity is it comprised of batho ba RFP le pitson fela hantente le structure ga se eme jwang le ba kae ka ga taba e ke lebo
ke gola ke kopa hupe fela gona le mohlomong le qadile tshebetso neng le tlo tla le ba teng nako e kae mohlomong ha ba ke kontraka le motse hlano kapa tse ka ke le hlakise le yona
o ke gola nna botswa ka e thadisetsa mona mo sa boteng go bona o le tsela ka ke fanyang pisa se bitsa sa bone sa so go bona delivery unity na e thilwe ka megala mafota le matsolo a thileng pa ka bo ke ya mokompi tuna go a le mongwe a fetsa gona lona le hiruwe le criteria e se bitsong ha le ine le ya pele o yeng go le la re le the hard o le pilo e ka le pilo ya prime minister go le ba ile tse ba go ba
no it's a yes
e re o yes
yes ke la kai
go tswa ka go bona mo e sa le CV le go bana ga ka ile tuna go ka bo yes Bona e sa le sebetsa before re sheba performance ya ne lona le la e sheba lona performance ya lona e sebetsa today.
But issue ke ona why re itlhaisa, you see. Don't you find this session useful? Hey, go away. You know, you don't put it in. And I crave your indulgence, Bimba. Do you find this session useful? Or would it have been more useful if it was introduced by so and so? What if it is not done? Go away. Is this thing useful? Do we feel we have to be introduced? No, we didn't necessarily feel that we have to be introduced. You know what I mean? Because there's no law that says we can't introduce ourselves. Are you finding value from what we are saying? That's core. You see? Because if you dwell on processes, you see, then you are saying no. Is there value in you asking government?
Okay.
Revisit vision. Again, some of these processes, maybe we are starting a journey of engagement. Again, and what is critical, the purpose of our meeting. You see, even if I'm told by Ndatemo what my role is, you see, the question that is what is important. You see, unless you can say Harry Kaistemona will get into trouble, and that's for us to worry about. You will worry about whether introducing ourselves is a problem. Not unless you are saying there is a law that says what. Is that fair? I'm moving to the next item now. Revisiting Matekane's vision. And I'll say what that vision is. Balan le tokomane eno ke re shebe ke. La bona ke re emotsweng deliverology. Le tsera ke. The functioning of the delivery unit. La kupa bemba. The functioning delivery unit is based on a theory and approach ya deliver. Theorists and students of deliver. Institute of Implementation. Hello, 2007, we have always been asking ourselves, why is there no deliver? And we came across a theory that explains 6 conditions for deliver. One is that there is a set direction, clearly, without ambiguity. Again, performance contracting. A performance contract provides what? Context, again, and direction. Again, most non-direction. Delivery because you don't know direction in the context. So I'll run you through this. Number 2, establish clear accountability lines or matrices. Okay? Once you know where you are going, then you have to say, how are we going to report and reflect on this thing that we set out to do? Again, so in government, once stage number 1 and number 2 is done, then you provide a budget and resources. for those things that you have agreed to do to happen. You see? Number 4, mmuso wa tracker jwang. We've spoken a lot about monitoring and evaluation in government. O department e nngwe le nngwe ya mmuso yana le department e thweng ke ya monitoring and evaluation under the planning unit. Yeah? Lekaleng le le. It's because those units are set to do what? To track that direction based on an agreed what? Accountability framework. Yeah? Then, how to track or monitor a tracker now we go from point A to point B. Okay? Now faith of from point A to point B. Evaluation is attaching value to the uno itse o ya ka chasne ke akere e ga o bona ile ka chasne o tsile le kae a ke tsile le kuti uno sa tsile le smongong ke ba di short title save your resources etc. For the longest of time ga bone mmuso o etsa mesebetsi e mengata fela component eno evaluation isa nke into consideration go bo go tlamile o ha wa ka 1 billion go ha wa ka 20 million fela bo hawu mona mo thweng you track performance effectively. For delivery to happen, you hold robust performance dialogues. There was a dialogue in the first 100 days of government. That dialogue was initiated by the delivery unit. It did not happen as we planned it, but it was an attempt to move government closer to vision and transparency, openness. Time and again, you need to hold what? Robust dialogues, that performance, which is why we are meeting with media today to do what? To encourage you to be part of this dialogues, that performance. You see, unless you can come and say, dialogue with that performance. The last, also very important element, they deliver. Who is about when most of money performance, there are consequences. Again, good or bad. They get a pat on the shoulder. We institute a corrective action. One give them back. I give a TV. The consequence. All the time. Tell about Valeka 16. If a few municipality of the resource by the municipality, you know the story of decentralization in this country. Doesn't happen. Then you ask yourself, but the law says the GS gets into contract, the PS, so what's happening? This is what this government is inviting you to do. Test Melawena. I get it? Find means and ways of getting into the dialogue. So, cycle can I get a presenter because now I'm getting to the vision and give out now. Handle a vision and mark the points that are the 6 vision. So I'll turn now to what? To the Prime Minister's inauguration speech. Well, reste shebe le hopola di point tse ntse tsheletseng. A ke la le sona. You'll have time to read through it, but I'll just touch 1 or 2 issues that I find important for this session to underline. In his speech, in his inauguration speech, the Prime Minister says Lesotho's national budget is absorbed by government consumption. Again, wages are estimated at 32%. Again, over total procurement, a value of 35%. Again, public spending has increased over the last few years and has reached 65% of the GDP. Goes towards financing public spending. Kidi wage, kidi pension, but where is the value from this big investment? Where is the value? Hotwe, Muso has become the biggest employer. Each one of us wants to align. Because everybody believes that a job will come through my alignment with what? With a party that may become government. Because absorption, so the Prime Minister says that is not a sustainable model. How do Muso Pilaga the revenue again? You are aware the circle revenues are declining, and they've been declining over time. Okay? You know, Halakwana and had revenue then at Nula, even Onaga here. The wage bill is too high. But I think what value do we get from the wage bill? TV number one, maternal mortality. What's the value of that level of investment? What are we getting from it? But it's a village. This is part of the speech where the Prime Minister is just giving context to sadly, even the high spending in the public sector has not translated into satisfactory performance across all sectors. But what and it's not a problem. We all want to be employed. But can people who are employed deliver something to justify what? The investment. Okay? The manner in which we spend the resource also leaves a lot to be desired. The Prime Minister addressing the nation. Our capital budget is a tiny 27% of the total budget. A tiny 27%. I get it? While 73% goes towards recurrent. Okay? Came to a move, who said it's one thing, and the resource. Where government is judged. Because a lot goes towards recurrent and is not tied to what? Performance and delivery. So, pick a few lines the for discussion and another thing. You'll come to your new government has to fix some of the imbalances mentioned above. It has to fix the public service. It has to fix the public service to make it more efficient, transparent, and accountable, which in turn will make it what? Effective. Only there's a saying, delivery in it. A lot of people didn't understand why I'm saying that. It is because government reacts to pressure. I don't know whether you've seen that. How got to see this radio needs then go out on a PSL about to have a chagana by time. So the Prime Minister is saying, open up this thing to everybody. Let there be noise all over so that these people can move. You see? You know, however, maybe if it is the only station that's pushing that pressure. You know, I'm trying to say, Muzore, who criticized at this time around, hasn't been. But it is important to criticize within what? Context. I get it? In his remarks on that day, the Prime Minister says the new government will increase accountability. We have spoken about this. I get it? In the public sector by creating a system in which performance expected to vote. You know, the media platform, media I tell you, those people who went. We've seen it. It can be backed up by experience. It's the nature of how the civil service works. The civil service works on social demand and pressure. ha parlamente ka botsa maano wa tlo parlamente o botsitseng o tla bona a batho ba itsitse e re o mmuso hore let's put ditaba tsa mmuso di-platformong tsena tse ka botsang tsa o criticize e re o government is saying yes criticize it's okay and let's see what comes out of that. If criticism here will make this government better, then it's okay. Because at the end of the day, government should not wait to reward. They criticize more so that I can push. But one of my things towards one thing is when that happens, people receive good services. That's the logic. The government says push it if you can. And I'll show you. Inauguration. But I'll show you what informed this speech, which is a thinking that happened before this prime minister got into office. I'm getting into politics. Then he should have had a vision now, what am I going to change? And that vision, he's saying it in this speech. I come to a very important section now. Our ability, he said, to achieve these issues that I've mentioned, will largely depend on the actions government will do in the first 100 days. A lot of people didn't understand why did he say 100 days. And he says specifically, I therefore turn to the government secretary. Do you remember the functions of the GS? So Lord, that was the obvious office to turn to. I turn to you. Where Ramutu has a said the PS level. 30. One was not vacuum. Prepare my performance contract and those of honorable ministers and ensure they are signed in so many days. Then make those contracts public. Why make them public? So that there can be engagement. They can be measured. He can be criticized for what is in his performance. What can we hold him accountable? Oh, genuinely, how can we hold him accountable if his performance is not made public? Measurable, visible results and what? You're on the day of make it public so that everybody can know that is making it visible, so that it can be measured, so that people can criticize him or pat his shoulder where he's doing well. Yeah? Sign performance contracts with principal secretaries. The law is clear. This is because the prime minister says he's aware without these things. It's difficult to make government accountable because how would you perform? Oh, no level 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that logic? You can't do measure because you have not agreed with anyone. Go to it. Make your local cycle and or one of the first 2 points here that is set a direction. Again, in developing the accountability framework, the matrices. Again, you're allowed to develop tools and the standardized system of performance reporting and reflection for the whole of government, including district administrators and local authorities. Have a system where we know reflector guy the lowest implementing unit of this government. That is what the prime minister. It's his vision. Whether it's been done or not done, that's another thing. Vision. Okay. So I've lost my thought process. Develop tools and a standardized system of performance reporting and reflection. Yeah? Harabele system puissant report reflect. Okay? Hotuagai. Udimu mona PS's ministers. And I want to follow a performance contract. You know, when you have a performance contract of a minister and that of a PS, you have a performance contract of that whole sector. Because you know what we are sector. You director as a but the better side. direction in a go. When we have this two, GSO Hona holder but one accountable, like you like set up a cabinet. More PM are here, Tuna Panel, who go PSA now is not done 1, 2, 3, 4. You are feeling in this direction. Limbaga, model loan is borrowed from the Rwandan model of governance and accountability. Rwanda man, because the Tabata are so visible and transparent. Again, how to tell lead canceling one or some sort about the because the system is a better look at the traffic light. How to valid the reporting and reflection session? It's now going to Sauleka Kamosa reporter. There's an electronic system in the class. System, the cancel and class one out. Like creamy, or table ember. Ale ember, Tauko, at one Santa Bahal. Agandata Madikita. Cosecha. Do you know what I mean? Because it is visible and open. So, has a system in our counter, the performance reporting. It becomes difficult to do to talk about what government is doing, to our last moment. We've had district administrators in this country. Well, about what a man didn't tell from Biba. Tell them to know about who to keep a district administrator, who to supervise, Papa Utsirelite, agenda Musos Tregency. Tell them about Mozalaga TV as Tregency. We want Mozaga later at service delivery level. That is the trend dating on our I want DAs to account. I want councils to account. I want PSs, ministers, and everybody to have a clear reporting and reflection framework. Okay? Develop a system through which citizens can monitor and report performance. This is part of what we are doing now. Through your work, you can help Basotho to demand performance on this government. You can. Because Prime Minister was a gig labor. That's what you see. I've provided resources. There's a budget. You will plan matrix. Budget in the second quarter. Now, what are these people doing? Because it doesn't make sense for me not to know what they are doing. Because performance. I'm voted out. The so that I can correct them. That's the logic. They didn't get net to DDA, criminally cancel Mona. So to decentralization, you know, I put on a kind of wake of fellow who knows how to build decentralization in between Pilebach. That is the one I can say. How I get out at Hotla to decentralization in Santa Bajo. You're a PMO, how was it in their current form? Find a way. I don't know what that way is, but find it. Because otherwise, you could have said, decentralization. Otherwise, you can't justify the wage bill. How can you? How? But that's the reason you know what it is. You know, how was it in their current form? You're a nugget, you don't have a city, so I gave us in their current. That's the spirit. You know, a man more to Mutumu either one. Then there are other issues around public financial management, cutting unnecessary spending. Again, over the years, we've seen the Koroiza Musomana tell of your campaign. I'll say it because it's a reality, it's the truth. And if it happens now, it's wrong. Even if it happens under this government, it's still wrong. It happened in the previous government, it was wrong. Even if it happens now, it's still wrong. And the delivery unit will say it is wrong. Cut unnecessary government spending. Because the pot is in. You know how to tell a Kuriman hang at SMA at least and village. All most sufferant. One pot in him. It's not like Yerikuru Iguana and I know. Who's a village or budgeting yellow? It will be the total government copper and deliver okay? Number 7, develop a plan of how to capacitate institutional chieftainship. Not a Maganana Sawagan. As a result, 24 hours. Now, what about now? Actually, push all of that later. Don't have whole over 1 hour for your capacity. Again, over the years, we know Havana Station, Havana. Bao na jina wata uzibara mugana jima. Usheve mtu asu tijim fela watu mbako pani. Magana chua. So the Prime Minister in his speech says, build up Ambore. Hobane, ditshia tsa puso di moo. Ha re kwetse di ofisi tsena bosiu mona motho a kokotela ha batho ba se ba hlabane ka dithipa mane ke morena. Ke lo sebeletsa ha. Ka tlung ka mago botse le bana ba. Okay. O tla etsa wa motho. Ha batho ba fitla ya bosiu. These are issues tseo hantse re ya re ka qokang ka tsona. Hothwe rationalize dikoloi tsena tse ngata. Go ga le tla mona fela I don't know how many government vehicles tse le di tse wele madi di tse fela di institution tsa puso fatshe man on the ground ha di na dikoloi tse seng. Ha di bona jena mapolesa bona jwale a se kae ka se ho ngwe hana bua. Jwale ke re ha le tla mona bona dikoloi tsa mmuso tse pantshileng tse tshwateileng difestere tse neng fela tse ding ha o tseba lena di kae tse di etsa di ngata. Ha ke re koloi tseo ha di etswe ka tsela di etswang fela di fuwe di-institution tse re fang ditshebeletso. Ha o ya tleliniking kanya bumane nurse e ana o pepisa. Ga o ka ba le complication mona motho ona ke tsena di mo fosana. One on ambulance. You see all these issues. So he's trying to build a system. The Prime Minister is aware that he's judged at that level. Trust me. The Prime Minister is aware that he's not judged in this book. He's judged in Kenya. More than nena have a module to the clinic in Siko. Tawe ni mupiste mo fogwa bilengare muzo na on tools. Tuna holore. Have a building the resource at that level. Again. And he argues the central government is over-resourced. Zogo fitele ka le mo go to koloi tse tharo ke tsa PS. Go ha se bisa le mo tse pedi ya tsebo. Ke trend e sala re inherit ka le mo. Will that change? That's for you to determine. That's for you to question. You'll not watch it. I'm putting that to you. The delivery is putting that to you. Go and check those things. So it's a number of issues that are in the speech. You see, that you will read, understand, to help you to have context to do what? To question government. What informed now the context ya speeches? When the Prime Minister decided he's challenging for Puso, then he said, what am I going to do differently? So just read it. It is called the Revolution 10. It's called Revolution 10 Unpacked. When that you speak to the manifesto of the RFP and the 10 chapters. O manifesto RFP na le chapter ka tse 10. Okay? E na le shome ke phethahatso. Sera tse ding ke agri, education, man, the usual. Ya bo 10 was a chapter dedicated to implementation and only implementation. Because the question was asked here, why do you say this will be different under you? So a question of accountability had to be addressed of implementation. So, but it will speak a lot to what I've said, but I'll show you very critical issues. For government to work, this is, they'll speak more because this was during their plenary sessions. Reform the office of the Prime Minister by doing what? Strengthen the GS. You see? Because they argue the fall of a lot of governments, they had weak government secretaries' offices. Offices that were not able to do what? To oversee PSs, to create an agenda for cabinet. You know about it? When they start, the first thing they will do is to make the GS's office more strengthened. Okay? To do what? To perform its function as spelled out in the law. Go and ask whether the GS's office is strong now. And what will determine its strength? You see? The Prime Minister is inviting. Hurry. Strengthen body DA, the District Administrative Council, to play a more active role. I will tell you now, a bad history, that has to be rewritten. How do you go about the budget? How do you cancel the budget? Well, that's still the situation. It's for you to go and investigate. But one, kahaba leveling you muso ala mona o petaza one. Hai been to ilum with muso mo. Post cannot win it. Inye vera basanza valiti. Habase bits again valiti. So you can see triangulation at Togoman, they speak to each other. But this all again. How to strengthen parliament? Again? The oversight role of parliament. The PAC is a good thing. The committee must ask more questions. Because the Prime Minister says, if they ask more, I will know what is wrong and I'll address it. As a history is that they collapse government. Muso Urilaya to be overseen by parliament. This vision was there. When we can govern openly by creating space for non-governmental organizations, media institutions. Create a space for media institutions. So I'm saying go and fight for that space, whatever that space is. Go and fight for it. And say that the speech in Zahao, Dogoman in Zahao, the media out of space. Space is where New York go. How are you going to Misagang? Fight for that space. Hey, fight for that space and come back and say, aha. It's like a regular test. Because it would be unfair to judge someone before testing. Who tested? Yes, the local Lemubitega Mona Lere. I don't go big, or I tell it to Rafu. I tell her, or I tell it to Rafu. Dwade the lead the man in the division. I had that why is it? Now, this Konya, the government spokesperson, are you creating an enabling environment for media to participate and to tell the story of government? Highly intellect, a pat on the shoulder. So you know how now there is no bad news for this government. All news is news. That is the vision. Kickstart public sector reform management. Kickstart PFM, public financial management reforms. This country has a huge debt. A huge debt. Over 400 million owed to the World Bank for projects that we should find value. The Prime Minister visionary area. We have to manage this debt. We have to get public financial management right. You get it? We should have a budget. I don't want to recurrent thing, capital. Because there's no system to make it accountable. No, not Ramatu. High altitude center. That was financed out of the government budget. How can such a big thing just be built in a above? And there's no consequences whatsoever for anyone. Hey, that's man. Matter. There are so many things. 10 years ago, budget because there are no processes to manage the budget wisely. I'm talking budget controller. Take that down. Functioning office here budget control. Only when you monitor and you evaluate the budget. Is this budget giving this country value? How can we build Rapokola? How can we? And then talking to each other, so nothing happened. One to about that they also have the story of the palace. How do you build a palace for so many years and the budget is increasing all the time and you are paying it all the time? Because the highest office in this country. How do you do that? So the PM says, have reforms. Settle our budget, but don't pay. Vision, if you read the document further, it's a how do you strengthen the office of the GS? Again, number one. Planning, reporting and reflection, performance contracting, the DA that on outlet or young again, paramenta, what is the approach, civil society, and this was developed before this government came into already. Here are all the documents that you need to go and push your government to deliver so that you receive good services. This is the vision in not so many words. The vision is to make government accountable for making transparent everything that government has to do and making sure that there are consequences for delivery and non-delivery. And I'll end the country. This is what informed Logic, I'm told. There's poor services delivery in Lesotho. Why? Because the center is not in control. I get diagnosis here, will speak more to this. Get diagnosis here, the center is not in control. He said the center again, Prime Minister and the GS. You see? How to decentralization also to a but walk a meeting, but Vaga and two bookie managers. GS to Holo. But to now Holo Kamezi. Mato. GSO Kamezi PS. You know, kicking one blame one more. Tell on all about walk a meeting, Baba. If there is Rapokola, if you are and no PS was done, it's because the center was not in control. The center was not driving delivery. You see, the planning, partner was coming from this side. This was an analysis that was done kind of way. Inconsistencies in financial and human resources allocation. Again, how a man most of it on Gatati, most not this. How to any police station that is called, I'll bet you, intelligent judge, I did not deliver. Kwari, hauna mutlakasi, hauna iko this. Fela ko hona mo uwa le mmuso o sebetsang teng haholo. It's because the resources have been allocated what? Katsela inconsistent to the job of government. But what to my village health for Karala Batsibani? Banzem Banu Sabo Nkunu ona ditlhagama. O ka etsa la be ha ba patala. But everybody else has been paid, not that person who does the job. The IRO. Ma polisa na dikuru. Fela go ona etsang address and crime. Nese clinicing kaga ena ke re ke history e dipictwang ka setshwantsho sena fela. E ba tlhomphi ba ngala ba kena ho yo before they came into government. They did an analysis of what is wrong with government. And on the basis of that analysis, the change program, let everything be transparent. Let there be social accountability to everything that was based on this. The scope and scale of poor performance is not known or communicated. TV, we know there's poor performance. We know, but we don't know one. So PMO, her performance that is what he's saying. Lack of consequences for poor performance fosters a culture of impunity. But what of us are to tell? Because they know they are not going to be asked anything. Ele mona mo tuna go lwa reng ke bula platform ena media o leng thusa batho bana go sentse ke ba hirile ga ba push mo ba tsotela ke entse mohlala ka mo Africa for a reason. Again, they are reacted PS. Maybe the same will happen for other media institutions. maybe Radio Lesotho, you'll start telling the story of government the way it is. Not the story of government, because the minister has gone where so we'll report a piece. No. By that hand. But it's in your so but what's with that? Kiba. On a bua vision. Hey, bua vision. Infrastructure must tell the story of government. Because it is only then that government will be in a position to do what? To react accordingly. That's it. So, I you want to consequences on it. Again, call out about it, but it's the same thing. So it's okay. You might have that thing, everybody. The service delivery models are outdated and inappropriate. As a result, ineffective. Again, how do you deliver on faster tender? Fela go ke mmabali wa di-interest tsa mmuso strategies e le tona gola o ka sheba speeching sa mano di tsena bodife mosebetsi di tseba wa account. He's trying to address this outdated service delivery models. I don't think baga ke le buile graph ya employment ke ena ya Lesotho compared to dinaha tse di wage bill ya gona ke ba bo o bona dinaha tse ka o fela di ka tlase ba bo go bana gona every time how the revenue that's how could here. So you have these two graphs.
Holanda do wile ga revolution tag. Handle le ntho ngwe le engwe le ha o ka sheba di manifesto tsa di party tse ding kaofela. Di batla di tshwana. Fela ntho ana fapana ka hana na o phethahatse. Le ha ra tsama mona na ntho di teng bo NSDP 2 di teng kaofela. Fela go ile hore ntho tsohle di ngotswe. Go se tsembela ke implementation o phethahatse. Jwale a le mema le ba tlale le ba kolotsi ba ditaba ha re be mo tabeng ena mme tsa tsinela le re tla tsinya ra mokotla ona ha ne re be mo le mhlompe ke na go jwale re tshwere mohlomong ka nna ba kana bongwa ha go sebetswa dintho tse di na le di bopana ba re batle dintho tse ding tse entseng hore a qetella a tlile ka tokomane nana o na ipisitse le nna ka phethala ba e tlile o kene a tseba hantle ho hobe jwale re batla ho bona movement wa ho lokisa o le teng ho bona ha mme ja kgola ke ka lona ba hlomphi ba ba tolotsi le batlari ba ditaba ba ka tseba ho le mothuse hore skepe sena se setse mo si tlotla pholosa baso ka kgola ke betse ke teta benyana ya mana ntsa etsa mohlala ka sealemoya se seng ya nda ka kgola go bane e hlile ha o ka ha di go mo di nyametse a sa nke bitula ma di potetse ka Natala Afrika eta ka po motho ke tsogolo Afrika e tla phama mme se sole se polisa maupela bohle ka ofela batla tsitsinya fela mo teng mo ya le ditshebeletso tse di etsa la diteng na re ntse re hlaba mokhosi jalo ka mo Afrika e hlaba mokhosi go nena go re ntate tshwere ya fela tlhabisitsa ha go molemo go sa motho a itseng go to sebetsa mo a le koholla punya le kolla a kolla jwale batho ba na ba sa ba maoba mona na bitsitse ba una kopane ba ho ibantshiseng ba jwale ga ke re tlotla sheba ditaba gore mo go hona kena go etsuetse na batho ba sa ba etsa toitoi hore fela ele yana ba bitseng ka ile yana kopane le bona ga nna ke taba gona go re le biseng ditaba tsena le tsena e lo ga mantswe a mang motho yo a re le sebetseng mo o le kena sebetso le na le hana ne mo le hana nang ke se ba lo mo go se we mara go ha pin twitse ha tse go tse ba bona nta ga ke mang o hloka ho ya New York la nta ga o tsaka na ke New York so gore taba tsena di go ke yona engagement yona ena ye re leng ka ra yona re a ka nnete ba hlompi ha re keneng le solo lena la hore re bone hore re se sitsetsa skepe sena mo tona go lena ena a tshilong ka lwa ha re mo ya gola ka nnete o ka
Bahlompeng ke ne ke re ka motsotso le ka fela go fitlhile keletso mo kereng e bone gore bonyane e tatela nama ya ka tlhokomela gore ga e sale e le go phamisa go go se ba batla ga go go dumela
le fa go rela se di bontsha gore mo ka ona e ne lo go senyetsang naga ke se ke tlhagise taba eno mme ke kopa gore nako e tlang ga e bona le sesho ka mofuta ona le tlhagise gantle baphatlalatsi ba tloswe ba ise mo le batlang go tlhalosa tabeno ka bophara gantle gona jwale sekgowa se ngotswe mona se re a reflection session post 200 days of the RFP-led government. Gona ntho e tlhalositsweng gore na in the past 200 days, what has this government done? You see, re bua ka dintho tse holistic gore TB godimo eng tjena ha o bue ka the past 200 days of RFP-led government. So e lo re topic e ne le neng le re bitsitse mona le re le tlo tla le bua ka yona ga la etsa jwang e lo re tabe re tletseng mona ke ho hong ho siyo. You see, ya bobedi ha re fuwa ditokomane tsena re sa di kopa ke sa ka ha re tsebe mosebetsi wa rona bonda jwale le ga bona le a sotola tshwara mona ke kopa re se ke ra sebetswang jwang ke kopa re se ke ra sebetswang jwalo mo e leng gore re tlo tla re rutwa mosebetsi jalo ka ga go tseng le bua ka accountability le bua ka transparency ka molwana wa ka botsa gore na le fumana bokae ka kgwedi ha le be transparent. You see, fela e le yona taba e le dutseng hodima yona e le yona taba e measurable gore na ha e le hantle mo ntse le sebetsa motho re sebetsa ka thata le hiruwe ke mang le sitwa go itlhalosa lona gore no e hiruwe ke tona kgolo kontraka rona e tsena ditaba tse le re betsa tsona le a re botsa rona le tsa dikontraka tsa di-PS tsa eng ditaba tse ga di tswetse ke ba go teng mo ntate le hiruwe gore le be baeletsi ba hae le bona go pheta go ba teng o tsenya tona go lona le phapha o sebetsa hantle a go le yena so
ya le mma
o se ise le national
oh
ya
we came to engage. Okay? We've given you tools that can allow you to engage this government. That was the purpose of this session. Botoloki ba hore in 200 days. Go and find out now. Okay? Because you have context now. You know who to ask. Okay? On the basis of what? And you're allowed to do that. That was the spirit of this presentation. When I go post 200 days, we're allowed to get all over. Because it is in the vision of government to create an enabling platform for you to do that. You see? Second thing that we did in this forum, go come and claim your position. It's your opinion. You are entitled to opinion. What we are saying is, government is opening itself up. I've said it. And that hampers your ability to engage with government. So the delivery is saying, go and find the appropriate tools, structures, and systems to engage with your government. With what? With the end in mind. See? Appealing to don't take this opportunity to put government to account lightly, because you'll put many other things except your welfare in front of what you have to do. And can tell you all the time. You see, that was the purpose of this meeting. government is open for you to come and criticize it and to contribute so that at the end of the day, all of us, again, because first and foremost, before you speak on that platform, media, just remember that. And Muso will come and hold us accountable. Muso will come and promote your Africa. Again, let all of you do it. What is wrong? Again, hey, Muso or criticize us. We are opening up this government. So the purpose was that, again, the purpose was never to say we are going to reflect on progress. Muso post 200 days. The purpose was to reflect on the vision of government, the vision, not an operational plan of government for the last 200 days. That the GS will do. The GS will reflect on an operational plan of government for the past 200 days. But he has the right to do
Ke na le tumelo ya ha o tlo thusa o tla mpolella hore ho hana kae ka ke go bitseng o sutela bo ntombe ituna golo o re o ima bo kae ohle lona le le haufi le yena ha le mmotsa hore na bothata bo teng o tloa o qadile go fitela hona ke kapa bothata ha bo ntse di tsamaya hantle o reng ya o qetela ke hore ha bitswe media e tsala rata haholo ha ke etsa rata haholo mane ena molatedi wa Ntombe ituna golo o re ke utlwile wa politiki o dula o llantsha o dula o supa diphoso mehlai ke etse ya
Okay, ke ne ke rena ebe oversight o di matona golo yona e etsiwa ke mang gobane ka ga taba tsena tsa revolution 10 unpacked na le taba ya strengthen parliament oversight gona lona le delivery unit le reng mo parliament a RFP because hara tse ding ba ile ba vouta kgahlanong le tsitshinyo hlanga bo hanyetseng go mo hlomphe tona golo ka pela parliament a botswa dipotso e le go tsebe go ba accountable to the nation gona o ntse etsang in the office but RFP le mmuso ba ile ba sebedisa majority ya bona to suppress such a good motion hore tona golo le ka mona go tswe RFP government e tla ba le taba ena accountability ile ka bona mo parliament ya lona ona le against that taba ya accountability ka vote against such a good motion hore tona golo a buele setšhaba a botswe dipotso in the parliament ke a leboha
that is a ngola kwe daddy
when I understand us better, please, please, that this invitation here for money, a session on revisiting the Prime Minister's vision. It's a lapilere and a reflection on session post 200 days of the RFP-led government. The first part, then go home here one it like is pure sapitu any you let them missing your obey. Kiho that the La Kuala Mokotle one muso, if so, La Kuala Kai. Kikopa yes or no, mme ha ebe ke yes please state hore na le kgola bokae ke a leboha.
Kore Dembaka ke a kgola ntho e re etsetseng mo is not to say whether government is doing right or wrong. Is to say what was the vision or what is the vision of the Prime Minister. Okay? And to invite you to support that vision because it's a vision. Or whether politics of whether this thing is happening or not happening. May do what? They can now a cloud as if you jump to an opportunity, a present down on about how to be propagandist machines that moves. Who to come and criticize government. You know, that's the end that we hope to achieve out of this session. All other questions are questions that we can respond to. Peta shoulders more than a pide. That was the primary purpose of this session. If whether you decide to do it or you don't do it, but that is the position and vision of the Prime Minister. And that is backed up by key documents.
Ke gola mohlomong ke batla ho kena ena ya parlamente that especially parlamente ke institution ye ikarabellang ntse tshwana le mmuso ha re no kena ditabeng tsa hore na ba lokela ho etsa wang ha ba no etsa jwang ehlile ba ikemetse ka molao mo thabeng mo ba le mateng ba ka botsa dintho tse ba ka di botsang ba ka batla support ya hore ba botse mmuso ka information ka di-research tse ba di entseng hore o account dintho tse o tla di etsa ke boikarabello ba bona moo ha se karolo e rona re kenang ho yona hore ne ke batla hore ke kene ho yona ya bobedi
except what the Prime Minister is saying is I'm open to Parliament doing XYZ. That's a vision. I'm saying whether it is happening or not happening is another thing. But he's saying to Muruti Tesha, I want Parliament to oversee the executive, because that is the role of Parliament. You see, that question that they would say is a very good question. Okay? Just find the right platform and the right office and say, but no, we're going to contradiction. Vision in your Parliament. Okay? Because over the years, we have had situations where half the time parliamentarians this is our tell this pro change again. What you want to do is to say to the Prime Minister, be careful if you're doing that, because that's contrary to your vision. Don't take for granted invitation in again. Again. I want to question health. I want to question agriculture. I want to question it. Able to develop a program here. How can we help you? Because for every function, there's a what? They need to create a resource for functioning in its ways. You see, we understand the politics of media in this country. Yeah? It's all sorts of things. Yellow practice, what in your sphere is called yellow journalism. Tell stories that sell. Again, tell stories that sell, not stories that are developmental. Maybe because you're under pressure to raise rents, to pay your staff, to do all that. Well, I'm sorry. To home and find what platform can we reach? More independent as watchdogs in this country. So I'm saying, don't undermine that invitation that is contained in the Prime Minister's vision by asking questions that may cloud your ability to see the value in a organization. How on that? How do you who to now willing to accountability? ga ona transparency. Di-consequence tsa peer performance ga ona motho a botsang ke gona mo beleng mare ke bone ka nka nyoloa mona ka go sebetsa le media e le go wena o emetse ga o etse gona ke le batho bana ba media ba tla ba gana re sebetsa jwang. I think ke yo vision ya gae. So it's the vision, is the program of government on the one hand. You can't confuse the two.
o go qetelle o ira jagola ya ntate ke se mane sa o re ha ba kala ba shaka criticism kapa motho ba na le nyatso ba etsang ke ba patala o re ba fumana nyatso le hlago ke motho tsa ba phika ba ntate wa tseba hore ka mehla yohle ho ntse na le batho ba ka ba hantle ha o tswa o la problem empa molemo o tingwana kwa hore wena o tla criticize o buye mo hloka ke o botsa o dina ya etsa ha jwale le ka re tsoba re ba ha o ya le ka le di ka office ke mo go botsa o dina ya etsa ba le tlameha o etsa ha ke dumele go motho ya jwalo ka ba mo hlanka jwalo o tla o criticize le ga o ska nna mo tsa tsene di dumela ke taba tse tabe di etswa ke batho ba ba mo ba ka ntle ba sa ba iela tsena ha ke ya o thibela ho wena o tswele pele ka hore o le mose mmuso kapa bontshe mo e bang tshepiso e eo ya ba di phadi tsa hare o tswa mo pedi wa gona go tsena bana go bana internet ya ba
ha ke tlo ya mo di tshela a moputso a nda kapa sele ha o e ya a ke gola ya moputso ndate ha moputso o le teng le tla o tseba gore ha o le teng le tla o tseba le tla fumana gore ha ona ntho e ka ba ipata le tla o tseba le gore na re patala ofising e feng jwang re na le resources tsa mofuta o feng taba tse nna di tseng ona tena ntate ntse re fumana di-ofising mo ntse re itshwenya teng fela hlile ha re na mo ka re se re hlile re le mongwe le teng e tla re ha se re na le office yo le kana re fumanang hantle go yona le tla le fa yona hantle haufinyana o tla tseba gobane sentse re tlile re na le lone re tla nne gore this platform ena engagement ha re tla nne re tle ka tsona jwalo ka mafapha ohle a meyang a setšhaba e le gore deliver e le gore toro ya motlhomphehi yona re tsepame hodima yona.
Yeah, just on that, party when do we reflect on the actual thing that is happening? The delivery unit has requested the Prime Minister because it's going to happen very soon. Yeah.
Jwale potso ya ka ke gore na e le gore ga la sign-a dikonteraka ba dikonteraka ke na le ya tlhalosa gona le ke kgona bokae ke bona monga ena a se a lebitso la ka ke matlong bese ya gore na delivery unit ena e thehilwe ka ditho tsa RFP fela kapa tsa balekane ba bang ba teng ka hare ho puso jwalo ka ha re le bona le ba ga go tjena gore na delivery unit ena e thehilwe ka batho ba feng ba tswang ho kae le morero wa yona ke utlwile hanyenyane hore ke ho tlatla thusa mohlomphedi tona kgolo hore a etse mosebetsi wa ho tsamaisa puso yanda ke a gola ke yona potso ne ke tshwe ke re e tla me sa letse morao
ke a gola le ke re ke mpe ke kene dinam
I'm going back again to you as a journalist. You see, how important is that for you? What value does it add? No. Go ne se kere. Ha ka la re bitsa le re ke re etse mmoka ke re wa ona re gola bokae. Maybe then we'll sit down on that. Accountability. Today, in a session, I'm going to put a vision out on a whole. Again, please go and report on that. And the vision is what? Come and fight for the rights of this country. That's the vision. Okay? Kana jwale ka bontate ba tshubonne ha megolo e le teng ntho tsena kaofela di teng ha re na bothata ba wa account ona go ka. Okay? Maybe kana go nngwe jwale in the spirit of accountability tla be sentse go utlwana le lona la le kgola bokae le tshwake jwale re ntho ile go. Because if you can ask that question, it can also be asked on you. Okay? Hey, we have no problem to disclose etc. For now, we were sent by the Prime Minister to come and communicate his vision. And we want to say to him, we did that. That was our job today. Oh, how come like in terms of reference? We deliver unity, it lies to fit purpose. You'll be amazed to run down on a deliver unity and go cop to opposition. So long as that person is a champion of what? Accountability and transparency. Onajo la salaba go tshira fe. Eh. Salaba go pitso nye kena ka le tswaila NGO push. You Bontate ba hlalositse mona they are from the party. E deploy them back into government. Again, e lo wa hloka la o bile ona le linki. Again, wa hloka because ba se ba deploy ba yo ba ipolisa. Ba yo ba go ba ntse re sa sebetsang. E lo ba setseng ka ntle. We don't know, maybe le bona dikabentse le matona they decided to stay outside to do what? To protect the vision. So that bazembala ka ga yo sona le koloti tsena ta batho ba kena ga this and that. Who sit in the National Executive Committee of the party to do what? To demand. We are in for independent voice. They are also in for independent voice because the government deployees are managed by the party. Why?
Itse ha e mema dintlha tse wa di namang ka yona ke di feng mo ga ke na tsona ka botebo ba ne sa le tona le ba teng pusong yana ha le so ka le pota di yalo me mane o ke ke duela di yalo mai wana di pota so ke lo go thani ako mpe ona ha na re wa di mema o ne a bone mme o di mema ka tshobotsi.
Okay, core to what we said is the vision of the Prime Minister to make government transparent. Transparent in what? Then you'll sit with the GS again, you'll sit with PSS again to get to the specifics of what this issue of transparency is. And now, most also the most transparent, accountable, most transparent. Again, most non-social pressure. About what's the banner whole villaging ka misa. Again, key, the sutumo. But how can demand? You're all on that pedestal and that platform. Again, I have a little so oti. Again, it is a valid point that we take from this meeting. Again, here and that. What's the our vision now, general, but one of our the minister responsible for sector in that's it. Again, elo hagagan to in a pie, for say, refella, rinkaile no to take.
Meka hona di ke bua dimba rona kwa nda ke hanya taba se se mona da dimo go rano tso bua le ena di
aga pele golwana aga pele let's pray
mutala ga gape
am so za go le tlenya ha go tle ke crisis le ke ha
Batho ba botsa gape.